Okay, Dreamer please.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we'll be looking at Ox King T10 and T15. Again, T10 was recorded much earlier when I just started playing the Korea server. So I actually recorded the clear at that point in progress, so you can have a better idea of how you can clear T10 minimally with your current account. So Ox King is actually one of the more important raids, I would say, because all the gear sets that you can get here are very valuable. You have the block set, you have the crit set, and you have the defense set for Evan. Block set is widely used on many support heroes in PvP and in PvE, and then you also have the crit set for your DPSs. So Ox King start off with Bellowing Rage always. Okay, you cannot outspeed this, so you have to use Black Rose's top skill to clear the minions. You may have to make sure that she's able to do about 4000 damage because the minions have that amount of health. Next thing here will be to use the shield and also to use Espada's bottom skill. Just to explain the team comp quite a bit, because this was only a beginner kind of a setup. Okay, many players, this will be the most accessible team you will have for Ox King. So this is going to be a very easy team to build if you want to get to T10 quickly. Espada works in such a way where the more minions die, she actually gets stacks of purified magic, and once you have 4 stacks of these purified magic, using her top skill will allow her to do additional damage based on the target's maximum HP up to 1300% more damage based on the boss's HP. So if the boss, as you can see here, has a lot of HP, then she's gonna deal a lot of damage on him. Later on, Ox King is going to resummon with Bellowing Rage, resummon the minions. As you can see, it coincides very nicely with Black Rose's top skill. So always use this skill to clear the minions fast so that you can continue doing damage. And upon clearing the minions, you realize that Espada has her Purified Magic stacks again. So reapply her bottom skill, it actually applies Magic Vulnerability on the Ox King. Then use her top skill to deal another round of heavy damage. In between, make sure if your heroes are low on health, use Karon's skills to heal. Karon, both skills are healing skills, which is very good. His bottom skill targets 3 units have the lowest health, and while his top skill heals your entire team. The tricky part about Ox King is that Espada's survival is very at stake. Usually, she's the one that's always being hit very hard. Okay, so 2 ways you can think about this is to first continuously cycle your heals and shields so that Espada is kept alive, or this is easier done in manual of course, or the other thing is to boost your Espada stats so that you take a shorter time to hit the boss. Okay, and make sure that your Black Rose can survive as well, because if Black Rose doesn't survive, there's no way you can clear the minions and then you will end up failing the run. So as you saw, my Espada is quite low on health because Ox King actually just deals a basic attack sometimes out of nowhere after his skill, okay, on Espada, and with that, sometimes she will die. So this is the part you need to be careful about. As you can see again, he hits her, he keeps hitting her from at the back. So you just need to be careful of this, and otherwise I think your run should be fine if you manage the heals and the shields. Again, take note, this is a beginner's build, okay, so the gears and the team is not the best. There are better teams now, which I'll show you later for Ox 15. So over here, Evan's on the defense set with defensive substats and main stats. I have block rate on one of his gears, but you can replace it with defense to make his shield better, because his shield scales off his defense. And you want to make sure that you have his shield skill enhanced as well. Yui here is not only for healing, additional healing, but her basic attack helps to reduce the Ox King's attack as well, so you actually tank you actually tank more damage. Okay, and if you need her revival, she's also there for that, and if you pair her, she's basically your healer on the passive side compared to Karon. Espada here, she's on the crit set. Back then I used the crit set on her to boost her crit rate to about 71%, but all you need is about 60%. As you can see, the rolls on the gears are really bad, like increasing bonuses in flat stat. Like what is that? Block rate percent is really bad as well. Okay, but ultimately the crit rate is above 60%. That's what you want, so that she's able to crit guaranteed. So definitely a lot of room for improvement. Okay, for my gears back then, as you can see, it's really terrible. All the substats don't make sense. Make sure that you have all attack percent for her armor's main stat. Then for Karon, I'm actually using the attack set on him. This actually lets him heal a lot. So he's actually my most clutch unit in the entire Ox King. And I didn't touch his gears for a very long time, all the way until T15. So actually this amount of stats and gears, this amount of stats actually lasted him all the way. Black Rose, it's highly important that you bump up her crit rate. Okay, as you can see here, I'm using the block rate, but some people may opt for the crit rate so that she crits consistently and is able to kill off the minions. I think this set is fine for her at this point in time, the block set with the crit rate main stats, so that she gets decent crit rate. I mean, 51% is kind of 50-50, you know, but she's still able to crit at this point. If you can push it even higher, even better, because she does give herself self-boost in physical attack. If you enhance skill, she actually heals herself, so that's actually pretty good. And if you enhance the AOE, she will do more damage on that attack, and it also gives all allies 20% attack boost, which will help your Espada do more damage as well. So overall, this skill is very useful to be enhanced. So if you're using the crit set on her, make sure that your substats are also offensive oriented. The reason why I opted for the block set eventually because she was dying pretty quickly. So this is the skill priority I chose to use. Basically, you will start off with Black Rose's AoE for sure, because you need to clear the minions, otherwise this run is going to be very difficult to proceed. The second priority goes to Evan's shield, and then I decide to actually go with Espada's attacks because I think damage is of priority. There have been cases where I realized that, you know, even though I put the healing as priority, and when the time comes, instead of choosing to use the Espada skill, the AI actually heals instead when I'm that close to clearing, so it didn't make sense to prioritize the healing over the Espada damage. So hopefully the Espada can get off her damage as soon as she can, whenever she can, so that you'll be able to clear the run efficiently. And you have to try to make sure to kill both her skills next to each other, because I've also tried the variation where in between her skills I insert a heal, you know, because as you can see, the health of my heroes is a little questionable, to be honest. So sometimes I've inserted a heal in between the skill, and that didn't work out quite well as well, because subsequently they just kept healing and my Espada didn't get to attack, and then she just died without attacking. So yeah, that is also a problem. Okay, but for Ox 15, we have newer heroes with Daisy as well as Biscuit as well. Okay, Daisy is the direct replacement for Black Rose because she does pretty much the same thing. But with Daisy, because she is a legendary hero, she has better stats as well. So technically her damage output should be more consistent. So same thing with Black Rose, use Daisy's top skill to get rid of the minions upon your entry. Daisy, because she's a legendary hero, so she has higher stats, but not only that, the top skill actually helps to buff magic attack for two of the highest attack allies in the team, which is most likely gonna be Daisy and Espada herself. Thereafter, I will buff with Biscuit to buff Espada's weakness hit rate all the way up. I can't remember how much base weakness hit rate she has, but getting 54% more is definitely gonna be a good thing. At this point I heal. Okay, I did heal. As you can see, Espada did decent damage. I heal because I think Espada is gonna die if he takes another hit from Ox King. So I heal for safety and also to land the passive healing, because Lina does have passive healing. And then Espada's top skill does, you know, almost close 2 million, which is great. So thereafter I will buff with Lina's top skill. This will not only guarantee that Daisy will have enough damage boosted to kill off the minions here again. As you can see here, my Espada is very close to death. Yeah, these are the scary things which Ox King, you know, can really do. Any more damage, any more hits my Espada takes, if he does a random basic attack, it's gonna kill her. So as you can see here, Karon is really great. He's still on that attack set and he heals a lot for my entire team. So some people may opt for the block set for Karon, which is fine as well, but I felt that Karon was never ever the weakest link in the team, even with the attack set. So overall, I think he has done a great job for me. So as you can see, Espada takes a lot of damage. Okay, so that's the only thing you really need to look out for. One reason also because you no longer have Yui to reduce the magic attack of the Ox King, right? So the Ox King is actually dealing more damage to you than usual if you compare. And my Espada is only T1. If you look at many guides that have cleared T15, I think they are all at least T2 or and above. T2 Espadas take less damage from magic attacks, so that is also very good against the Ox King, so that she actually lives better. But T1 Espada, very tricky, and to be honest, after this run, I don't even dare to auto my T15 because I know that the RNG of Espada dying is very high. So if you saw just now, my Karon actually healed everyone for 6000 HP and full healed everyone. So yeah, Karon is definitely one of my MVPs of the team. But also you see that Espada is consistently hitting the lead weakness hits and the crits. And mind you, this is my first time trying out the Ox 15 raid. So I managed to get the clear on first try. Okay, so these are the gears that I had upon doing this. Lina, if you have Lina enhance all her skills, you will not regret it. She's one of the best supports in the game, and she's actually on a block set. Previously, if you watched my old videos, I said she should use a HP set, but I realized that using a block set actually makes her sustain even better with block main stats. Okay, this will allow her to take a lot less damage. Of course, your main weapons should be HP percent because Lina's healing is still based off her HP, so you want as high percentage of HP as possible for her. If your substats have more HP percentage bonuses and rolls, even better. Next up for Biscuit will be your block set. Okay, enhance all her skills because they're all very important, especially the buff skill. Increases damage dealt to bosses by 40% and weakness hit chance increase. Karon on the attack set. Take note that even with Karon on the attack set, what you want to make sure is that his attack is less than Espada, because if your Espada is very lowly transcended and your Karon is very highly transcended at T12, then there's a chance that Biscuit will end up buffing Karon, and that has happened to me before. So I actually had to make sure that one of his weapons doesn't have the attack percentage so that he doesn't interfere with this process. Next up for Daisy, she is on the crit set now. Okay, because I tried the block set on her, didn't work. So you have to go with the crit set and make sure she has very high crit percent, because if she's not consistent with her crits, she's not going to kill the minions for sure. Okay, so even on her armor, I given her attack percentage. You don't have to give her block rate percentage, you can actually give her damage reduction percent, because 24% block rate alone isn't gonna cut it. If you're not using the block set, it's not gonna make any difference to you. So if you want, you can go for the damage taken reduction main stat. Just having some damage reduction can actually let her sustain a bit more. Make sure that her weapon main stats are crit rate or crit damage, depending on how high your crit rate is already. The higher your crit rate from the substats, the better. Also, one more thing about Daisy is that you don't need to have her at T4, okay? You don't need. Even 1 is good enough, because all you need to do is enhance her butterfly skill and probably her passive so that she gives better magic attack boost. Next up for Espada, she's actually skill enhanced, and you realize that when doing T10 earlier on, you don't need to skill enhance her. The only reason why I skill enhance her was because I was not confident in her damage, especially since she is only T1 and I was really desperate to clear the raid. Okay, so she's on the boss set right now, damage dealt set, with the armors having attack percentage and very damage oriented crit rate, crit damage kind of substats. This is my luck set piece with all bonuses into crit rate, which also helped to push her crit rate to 61%, which is exactly the amount she needs, because she needs a minimum of 60% crit rate on herself because her passive gives her 40%. So I was pretty lucky there. The other pieces are all more bonuses into attack percent and weakness hit, so that will allow her to do more damage, and I really hope to get her dupes so that she gets the magic resistance. One more thing is I have this accessory that actually lets her do more damage to the boss, but even without this accessory, if you saw my run earlier, you know, she still took the same amount of skills. I think it was 3 or 4 hits to kill the boss. So even without this accessory, the amount of turns will still be the same. So for pets wise, I have Yongji. If you don't have Yongji, you can actually use Note. Note is also a magic attack booster, or if you feel that your Espada's crit rate is not high enough, you can use Dillo or you can use Nina. Okay, they are both crit rate boosting pets and pretty important early game when you do not have enough crit rate on your gears. For auto wise, I think this will be the wisest way to auto, but I cannot be 100% confident. Okay, I'm so sorry, but I did take inspiration from other YouTubers as well, because this is pretty much, I mean, you're only having 10 options, so there's only so much you can do. So the first skill is of course to always use Daisy's top skill, because without that you cannot clear the minions. Then followed by the buff skill, and then for me personally, like I played it earlier on manually, I used the healing skill at this point, but many players actually leave the healing skill after the Espada skills. So I would say that what differs from my auto skill queue with other YouTubers is this healing skill portion. Healing skill for me, I put it before, but if you have a higher transcendence Espada and she can tank better, then you can afford to put the healing skill after her skills, because the healing skill coming before Espada's skills can interfere with your Espada doing damage later on. So that's all I have for this video. I hope it helped, and if anything wasn't clear, please feel free to ask me in the comments and I'll get back to your questions. Do give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thank you so much and see you!